Why do dental practice startups fail? Over the next 22 minutes, my good friend, Stephen Trutter, Nacho sponsor, Dream Maker, is going to share with us how to make sure your dental practice startup is the one of your dreams, not of your nightmares. Stephen, thanks for being here. You've been on many times, but just give our audience a little context about what Ideal Practices does in their day-to-day lives to help dentists.
Paul, great to be here. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it, and great to be there into the Nachoverse. What do we do? Ideal Practices. I have an elite team of advisors and consultants, one of the greatest teams ever. And what we do is we put associate dentists on the right path to open up successful startup practices with a proven method. It gets them profitable faster, gets them out of working for somebody faster, so that then they are fulfilled in private practice ownership. The typical hurdles are avoided, and that's our goal each and every time.
I think that's awesome. I mean, what I will share with you, even though I've acquired practices, work at the practice I grew up in, that starting up a business is like, truly the dream of many people who do anything, but there's so many risks involved. We're going to dig into 3 reasons why these fail. Us dental people, Stephen, we are always taught what's wrong, how are you going to fail, how are you going to mess up? So that's what we pay attention to, right? If I say, how's it going to be great? People say, boring. How's it going to fail? So let's go with your reasons. You do this on a day-to-day basis. So what is one of the reasons these dental practice startups fail?
One of the first reasons, I'll say this as my great props I have here.
I like it.
Everyone can see this, is they're focused just on opening. Listen, you don't need a consultant to tell you to get 4 walls and some chairs and a roof, but you need to have a plan to open up a practice with the right strategies on demographics and understanding, with the right real estate strategies. Everybody just goes out and says, I just want to open. And they focus on just getting open. They go, cool, I'm open. Where are my patients?
Right.
Well, did they even do the right demographics? And you and I were riffing earlier about banks and lending, where it's like they're going to give them a loan, but even the banks don't even ask, what's the plan for you to get patients through the door? So they vote because everybody says the failure rate is low, but the failure rate is about not being able to operate your business. Not, are you just open and you're barely able to pay your loan and keep your doors open? So they don't just focus on opening a practice. Yes, you need those essential elements, but too many startups that fail, they just do that one phase. They're open and they can call themselves startup owner versus successful startup owner.
I love that. I mean, I think, I've seen is, opening is fairly predictable. You just have to get contractors, you have to buy stuff. That's predictable. I know we're going to get to piece number 2 of what's not predictable. Before we get there, you guys have been amazing sponsors, and I'm just so proud that you guys share this book for just $1.99 with our Dental Nachoverse. So dentists spend, Stephen, $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 to go to dental school and get their degree. And then sometimes they try to DIY a startup. Now we're going to talk more about what you guys do, but let's just say we have an audience member thinking, I might want to do a startup. I'm a D4, I'm an associate. What are they going to learn in this book? My team's going to share how you can get this book for just $1.99, but what are they going to learn inside of this book?
Yeah, what you're going to learn is the essential foundational elements of understanding the right location, the right strategies of attracting patients, understanding the demographics, and really being able to craft a plan to opening up. So before anybody goes out and gets a loan or even calls a real estate sign, pick up a copy of the book for $1.99 and get yourself prepared for the elements that you need to be asking of other people so that you actually have a plan of starting a practice. And I'm using the word plan with an emphasis on plan.
And I think one thing I'll point out as someone who owns multiple practices is this part about the location. It's really important because it's going to affect your spouse. It's going to affect your children. You have to look at this over decades, not just over days. So I love that. Now let's go to reason number 2 from Stephen Trutter, CEO of Ideal Practices, of why dental practice startups fail.
I'm going to hide number 3. Lack of profits is number 2. Lack of profits means, I'm not talking about building the most profitable practice, but Paul, I've been a part of 850 startup practices in the last 18 years. I never built a non-for-profit practice. I don't know what a non-for-profit, but so many people, they don't understand to be able to get to be a profitable practice. I'm not talking about the most profitable practice, but if you're going to start up a practice, then do one that has profits. We're talking, you need to develop the right systems. You need to be trained from an entrepreneur perspective. You need to have the right team. You need to understand insurances. You need to be able to become a business owner. This is the biggest transition I'm sure that everybody has as an associate or as a dentist or anywhere is, I'm a great clinician. I'm scared of the business. And so they lack the systems inside of the practice because they focus on opening. Now it's like, well, I don't have systems. I don't have the right team. I don't have the right communication. They don't have the protocols in place or even the financial guidelines, like simple things like.
I love this point, Stephen. And I, they're not a sponsor. I want to be one day, but one of my aha moments as a practice owner, aha, if you'd like to sponsor us, I do love aha. But here's the thing, PPP has been an acronym that's been thrown around over the past few years. And for me, it's profits protect people. So on my days, I was at my dental practice this Tuesday. It's nuts. You're running a circus where the animals don't try to eat you, just slowly annoy you to death. But what profits protect people means, Stephen, is they protect my team so they can be paid and take care of their family. They protect my patients. They protect me. Yes. Profits is not so a dentist makes $1 million a year. Some do. No. That's great. Profits so that you can keep doing what you love to do, helping people and providing for your team. And it just bothers me so much that dental school, they charge $500,000 or $600,000 a year for dental school, but they don't talk enough about this. So profits protect people. And I think with startups, there's just a myth that, you open a practice and you're going to make money. And we're talking about failure. Have you seen this go sideways? Have you seen this turn into real problems with maybe sometimes clients who hadn't reached out to you or didn't reach out to you early enough?
I hear online and I see the stories online. It's more the ones that get open. I have a Facebook post I keep on my phone for this reason. It was from about a year ago. And this doctor's like, I've been open for 3 weeks. A million things went wrong. I'm not prepared. My team wasn't prepared. And it's like, there's a part of me because I love the industry so much. It's like, that's avoidable, folks. Listen, if you just focus on opening and you don't have systems, keep being an associate. Don't open a practice. Don't be a practice owner. And so that's all avoided. And I think there's like this badge of like, like the gauntlet, like they do it like football practice. It's like, if you do a startup by yourself and you really trudge through, you will feel better. Does LeBron James and professional football players and actors have coaches and consultants?
And I mean, that's what I share. There's two things. One thing I want to bring up, but first I want to talk about Dr. Ashley Dawson, because she came to our event and she's awesome. And she's literally one of my favorite people. She does handstands at courses. She's come to our boost camps. Please tag her in this post. We're talking about failures for a second, but I do want to just pause and talk about her. Her journey, she authentically said at our last Super Dance Boost that getting people to guide you through the most important thing, the most anxiety-filled thing, because there's not enough time to do this and still be an associate. So let's just pause on the failure tip number 2 and just talk about you're an associate, you want to DIY it. Even if you could do all of these things, why is it nearly impossible to do that? Why is it this one, Stephen, logo from this coffee brand? Why is it logo to try to do that while you're at your associate?
Man, Paul, you have the greatest props today. Man,
thanks, I appreciate it.
I think about this. If you're working 4 or 5 days a week, where do you have time to focus on DIY? Like one of the things we even tell our clients is you need to dedicate 1 full day during the week, not a Saturday, Sunday, to your startup, not to me and my team, but to your startup. How do you do that when it's like, okay, I'm working 5 days a week? And so to be able to free up the time. And so our goal is, how can we help associate dentists? Listen, I'm not picking out colors and flooring and everything for our clients. What I'm saying is, let's carve out the time. And doing it as a DIY, everyone's and trying to keep an associate position. Everybody, if you're opening a practice, know that the end result is you want to be a practice owner. So the associate position is going to end someday. So don't worry about like, I got to keep this income. Why? Because don't you want to lose that income in order to have your own income? The focus needs to be forward thinking on, I'm doing something for the future, which means you may have to drop down a day and lose some income for the future of your income, because you can't quit your associate job on a Friday and say, okay, Monday, we're opening our doors, we're ready. You're not ready.
I love that message. And I think you and your team should one day, for one of them, just track all the hours you put into a startup, right? You just track every hour and they'd be like, hey, do you want to pay yourself $9 an hour to do this process? Because this is the hours it would take talking to contractors, talking to the equipment rep, doing it now. So we talked, number 1 was just getting to opening. Number 2 was not having profits. What's the third reason dental startups fail?
Here we go. Lack of patience.
Yeah.
And not the virtue. We're talking the people that you need to have through the door. in profit, in having patience isn't about, I hear this on Facebook a lot. I'm opening in 3 weeks. What's everybody doing for marketing? No. You talk about that. You see this too. It's like,
we just moved, Stephen. It'd be like me the morning of my move being like, should I get movers, right? Or should I start packing? So I just want to share with people, that's the story. I mean, I just moved. It was very stressful. We're glad to have moved inside of Philadelphia. But imagine someone said, I'm going to move in 3 hours. Should I start packing, right? That's what, so tell me more about this patient part and why dentists are not paying attention to how early they have to market and how purposeful they have to be about it.
Because a lot of them, they focus on the opening part because the big things in their mind are, oh, I need to have the real estate. I need the chairs. And then they kind of think about a few of the things and all of a sudden they go, oh, I'll just say this, oh crap, I'm opening in 30 days. How do I get patients? And then they start asking everybody on Facebook going, what's everybody doing? It doesn't matter what Dr. Paul Goodman does in Philly to what I do in Tampa, Florida. It's irrelevant because you don't know what kind of patient do you want to attract? What's the market? What's the spending habits in the area? So marketing is about having a plan, and it's not just about, it's about having a strategy for marketing. I'm not just talking tactics. Tactics are Facebook and Google. I'm talking a plan where you have ground marketing, you have the right website, that you have a purpose, you have maybe even a give strategy, something that you're supporting outside of the walls of your practice that connects to your community based upon values, not discounts of dentistry. So it's not about discounts. It's about how do you bridge the gap so that people are coming to you because they're attracted to you and your values, not discounts. And it also helps attract people to come work for you because everyone wants a paycheck, but people also want a bigger purpose.
Of course, that's another pure purpose. So I love this. Now, we ended here. I know my dental people, they wouldn't like that, right? They like to hear about problems, Stephen. They like to hear about negativity and they go, what's the solution? So here's this problem. How can you assist us, Stephen? Because my dreams of playing in the NBA did fail. And this is a child-sized basketball. I can't really palm one, but my dreams of playing in the NBA did fail. But how can you assist our audience with solving these problems? What are the solutions to prevent startup failure?
My youngest daughter turned 10 today, and I could show you a picture, but I had a brand new basketball hoop. I did last night at 10 o'clock put up.
Oh, wow, you're a good dad.
Yeah, so number one is have a plan.
Yeah.
Number one is have a plan. And that means the right strategy for demographics, not just chasing ratios, but understanding where you want to be. What is the data that supports your vision and the kind of patients you want to have? Having a real estate strategy, not just finding a real estate, but negotiating with posture into those elements. Having a business plan. How are you going to do this? Be able to tell banks, even if banks say, we don't need a business plan, do one. Are we building a business? Build a business plan. So number one is have a plan, not just go out and start driving around looking at space. Craft your vision. What do you want to be? How do you want to be known in your community? What think about the end in mind. What do you want to be remembered by? What are things that you want to do that are going to transcend you versus everybody else? Because it's a competitive market. How are you going to set yourself apart from others in your community? And that's with purpose. And so that's number one. I
love this, Stephen. That's number one. I want to give you guys a tip and pull this out of the video for your team. Because watch this moment. So when you are sharing how you can help people, right? I am a broker. I share I can help. Some people say it's not worth money. Is that this? And I say, okay, let me explain it to you in dentist talk. So I'm going to say, working with Ideal Practices, this is how we'll explain it in dentist talk. Imagine doing the biggest full mouth rehabilitation of your career without a treatment plan, without models, without perio charting, without a CBCT. They will get that in 2 seconds because that will scare them. They go, I can't just start drilling on this tooth over here and do a filling here, because they know that full mouth rehabilitation will be a failure. So say, imagine doing the biggest full mouth rehab without all the data you need, without a treatment plan. That's what doing a startup is like without working with people like you. So have a plan as a solution. What's the next solution?
Next solution is simply systems equal profits.
Like that.
You need to have systems. You need to have protocols. You need to be able to have entrepreneurial training. I tell every client, and I'll tell the whole audience, I have a biology degree. I just figured out what number 15 was because I had a crown put on 8 months ago. I'm not a dentist. I don't have dentists. I can't help you clinically. I'm here to train from an entrepreneurial perspective. So you need to have systems. What are the financial guidelines of your practice? Understanding practice management, understanding insurances. They should be able to know how to put through a claim, not forever, but be able to do it because You're the business owner.
I love this. I want to jump in and say something because
Yeah.
I was a restaurant. I worked as a server in so many different restaurants, and the one in Princeton, New Jersey, that I really respected, the brothers who owned it, called Mediterra. The team there would say the Momo brothers know how to do every job in this restaurant, and it really stuck with me because it doesn't mean they were doing it then. They had 8 restaurants, but what it meant is they understood how these things get done. And now, Stephen, I'll just share with you as a practice owner. Sometimes you got to do it, right? Like if you own a restaurant and the person who does the trash isn't there, well, you got to take out the trash. So if you own a dental practice and your claims person's out, you need money. So it's really, I love that systems equals profits.
That's it. Yeah. Make sure that's there. 100%.
And let's go to number 3.
Vision plus purpose equals
Patience. I love that.
And I have a smiley face. Here's my smiley face. So you have logo, I have pieces of paper.
I like it, yeah.
And a Sharpie. So have a plan when it comes to marketing. In order to get patients through the door, yes, you need to have a beautiful website. Yes, you can do AdWords. Yep, you can do all those things. How are you connecting into the community? How are you telling your story with purpose so that it attracts people, not just for discounts? And crafting your vision isn't about colors. We're talking about what do you want to have in practice ownership? Maybe even think about, like, if at the end of your career, how do you want to be remembered? Like, think about the end in mind. Like, what do people want to say about you? Because then that helps guide the ship. So I like the boat, small boats you can turn, but I've seen aircraft carriers, and like, you can't just go turn left.
Yeah.
It's like, but we're turning an aircraft carrier of a business, which means what are we aiming towards? And so having vision and purpose is going to be able to give you patience. Now, I know everyone's going to ask, well, tell me the best marketing strategy. Yeah. Yes, it's all things. It depends on what you're trying to track. What I'm saying is it involves more than just a tactic or the best tactic. It's having a plan of marketing.
I love that. I mean, I want to share a vision plus purpose equals that. And also social media is so critical. When my dad was a young dentist, he would coach soccer teams and he would go out in the community. But now there's these Facebook groups in my town where people talk about dentists and they talk about the good parts of our practice. Some say they're not taking my insurance. They complain. My patient says, well, your insurance stinks. It's great. You see them arguing, but that's the new world of your community wanting to feel like you care about them. And you explain why you care about them. And I think that's something that's not touched upon in dental school. And it's such an amazing wrap up to this whole thing, because you're sharing with them the stuff that doesn't show up on the stat sheet, but what makes the stat sheet great, right? Your vision and purpose. So I'm glad you and I both talk fast. We both probably drink. I drink a lot of coffee. I don't know if you do, Stephen. But now, since I have 5 minutes, I'm going to ask you to do this. I know sometimes it makes my awesome sponsors uncomfortable, but I want 5 minutes of this. Someone is an associate dentist. They reach out to Ideal Practices. What is the process to work with Ideal Practices? Somebody's watching saying, I'm an associate. I like my job, but I want to open up. I hate my job. I don't like it. I want to do this. I'm moving across the country with my wife and I want to do a startup practice. Just walk us through the process of working with you guys and summarize that for us.
Yeah. Early on, we want to first have a conversation. We need to understand each other really, really well. So first thing is, reach out to our team. You'll talk to Jen, one of our strategy advisors. You can go to idealpractices.com. You can get a consultation. We need to understand each other. Is this a good fit? Number one, conversation. Number two is we'll have an invite. If we think it's a good fit and there's a commitment, then there's an invitation. You come work with our team. And then at that point, then we're going to schedule what's called a vision call once everything is done. So then we go through a deposit, work with our team. And then we have what's called a vision call. And that's a 2.5 hour to 3 hour phone call with myself and members of my executive team, where we start to lay out the pieces of this puzzle, kind of like a 1,000-piece puzzle where we got to find the corners and the edges. Yeah. We're building out that over 2.5 to 3 hours. And then it becomes, and it depends on everybody's timeline. It could be a 9-month to an 18-month or even beyond process, depending on factors like real estate availability and timeline and everything like that, or people are moving. So generally speaking, we always say it's a 12 to 18-month process. Once you say, I'm ready, and we start the process. And again, the variables in there are more project and environment variables, but a 12 to 18-month process where we will go through, we'll identify vision, demographics, full studies on demographics, arrange all the necessary funding. We give you a custom floor plan, equipment, construction, and technology procurement, vendors, selections, help with negotiations, And then we're going to move into the business systems. We call that the startup MBA. I have a team of advisors trained on systems, entrepreneurial training, insurance credentialing. We're going to go through all the elements in terms of understanding their professional insurances. And then we wrap things up with a dress rehearsal where we're on site 3 times, but at the end, we're going to be on site where we train the entire team and the client through a full day with a new patient experience we go through before they ever open the doors.
I mean, I'll share this, Stephen. I mean, in basketball, I love basketball. You know, you scrimmage at the end, but you work on fundamentals, right? And there's stuff that Dennis wanted. They want to see the patients and want to do the crowns, but the fundamentals like insurance and leases, those are the things that let you do those things. I still want to encourage my entire community to get this book that will assist you from Ideal Practices. As we wrap up too here, Stephen, I just want to share, I really just am so impressed with what you guys do with focusing on charity or focusing on a cause. Just tell us why your startups, practice owners. I've seen the videos, I've seen all these things. Tell us about that part, because I think that's just such an amazing part of what you guys do.
It is. It's the DNA of our business. One of our core values of Ideal Practices is give, and every one of our clients has a give strategy. So for us, what we do is for every practice that we open, we simultaneously provide the funding for 10 microloans in areas of the world like Africa, Central America, where traditional lending isn't available. And so that give strategy is permeated, and then we guide our clients with a give strategy so that they too can connect with something beyond the walls of the practice that is genuine and authentic, that helps support the community and something that they truly want to support. Then we're bridging the gap within the community. So it's not a marketing gimmick, it's truly a give strategy. And some of the greatest stories that you'll hear of clients, you can check out startupdentist.com with Dr. Brian. All of our clients have a give strategy that we guide them through that separates others within the community with true values.
I love that. It really helps your morale. You guys are just fantastic. As we wrap up, I'm going to say you can text Ideal to 215-543-6454. We can connect you with Ideal Practices. They're amazing sponsors. But Stephen, someone's listening saying, I got to talk to Ideal Practices team. What is the best way for them to do that?
Go to idealpractices.com and you can go in there and schedule a consultation, and then we will take it from there. And I look forward to speaking to everyone and hearing your stories and what we can do to help support everyone that's out there.
Awesome, Stephen. Thanks so much for hanging with me today.
Thanks, Paul. I appreciate it. See you, everybody.